Heads for a word of prayer, please. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us here this evening. Please be with us as we go through the business of the school. We are blessed with all the students that we have, and the accomplishments and the accolades that they get, Lord, that will shine great on this community. Lord, in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, 7 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. All members are present and accounted for. Any public participation? None? Okay, discussion, possible actions on the minutes of the regular board meeting December 1st, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second. Any questions or comments? If not, raise your right hand. Motion is passed. D, recognition and honors.
We have the Kingfisher All-State Vocal students with us tonight. If you got to see any of our vocal programs before Christmas, they did a fantastic job, and they do a wonderful job when you hear them sing. And this man is right there, right there.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Sorry, I didn't mean to
introduce
do
your
that.
students.
Yeah, we have 8 of our students here today, so I'm going to talk about them in order. There's 3 sections of All-State. So there's Children's All-State, which is 4th through 8th grade. So when they get in 7th and 8th grade, they can audition for the children's one and the junior high one. If they make both, they're forced to do the junior high one, so that they give more opportunities to the younger kids to be in an All-State choir. So our 3 children's All-Staters from the Q are Mary Jane, you want to stand up? And she's a 5th grader. And then we have Emily Mosley, and she's a 6th grader. I almost called you a 5th grader, sorry. In my brain, if I have more than 1 year, they stay in. And then Laura Lintacape, and she's a 6th grader. And their procedure is they have to record and it's all a cappella. They have to record a scale, then they have to sing a Latin piece that's just a real short little thing. And then they have to do a harmony exercise. So the piano plays the melody, they have to sing the harmony, the piano plays the harmony, and they have to sing the melody. And that's the trickiest part, I think. And so then we send those in, and they're competing against 4th through 8th graders across the whole state. And so it's been kind of cool, because lately I've had more than one kid make that Children's All-State, which is quite an accomplishment. So it just shows the talent of our kids. Do y'all want to say anything about they're probably kind of shy because they're kids. My older kids taught more. So anyway, it is difficult. Sometimes I get it in one take, and sometimes we have to do it again. But y'all got it pretty quickly though. So they're very talented kids. So now we will go to Tulsa.
We're on each group, that way they get their own.
Yeah. So now that they have shown that they've got the vocal ability, they will go to Tulsa in 2 weeks for the Oklahoma Music Educators Conference, where they will work with a renowned clinician who is also a composer, whose name has escaped me right now because I just drove back in from UConn, so my brain isn't quite there. And so they will work with her, Jessica, Annapolis, and so I knew it came to me. Anyway, and they're going to work with her, and it's going to be fantastic, and the music's really good. They're singing in Spanish, Japanese.
There's Spanish, Japanese, I'm pretty sure. Yes,
Greek.
a little bit.
There's a song called
It's got
a Hurricane, and it's got different languages in one song. So it's really good for the students to sing in different languages, because it really helps fire the neurons in their brains and makes connections. Everybody should learn another language, because it's so good for your brain. So in music, in choir, we get to do that. We get to learn different languages. So I'm excited about that. We always have a good time. Then next we have Mackenzie Wilson, who's a 7th grader, and Lily Larson, who's a 7th grader. And they also made Children's All-State for, so these 5 will be going together to Children's All-State in 2 weeks. Do you want to say anything about how the audition was?
It was stressful.
Was their audition the same as the other 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just older. Do you have any? Yeah. Yeah, I called them and actually all 5 of them, I used to call them, I was like, you guys are weirdos, because these guys are the type that can just walk in, do an audition, and they nail it, and then they leave. My husband said, call them unicorns or something. So these are my 5 unicorns, because they can just walk in and do it. They just have the ability to do it that quickly, so, yeah. Now, on the next level, we have junior high, which Lily and Mackenzie did audition for. But you've got over 1,000 kids in each part auditioning for, so soprano 1, soprano 2, alto 1, all the way down to bass 2. And so it's more difficult, and it's a little different than how they do it. So Hannah is going to share with you. So our 4 that are going to junior high All-State are Hannah Johnson. Stand up, because you're going to talk more anyway. And then Evelyn Martin, and they're 8th graders. Braylon Schroeder is at a dual, I think. And who's the 4th one? My brain is. Valeria. Where's Valeria? Okay, and Valeria Rodriguez, and she's an 8th grader. So all 8th graders. This is Hannah and Braylon Schroeder. This is their 4th year straight in a row. Since 5th grade, they have been an All-Stater. And Evelyn has been, this is her 2nd or 3rd year as an All-Stater. And if Valeria was here, it's her 2nd year as an All-Stater. So would you please, you two, describe to them the situation of auditioning for junior high All-State?
So you go into a room, and the first thing you see is a black curtain, and you put your music down, and then like a robotic computer voice says, "Are you ready?" And then you say yes or no, or no, you don't say no, you say nothing if you're ready. And when you say nothing, it'll start playing the track, and it'll give you like the beat of the music, what pitch you start on, and once it gives you like 4 beats or something, you start singing. And then it just jumps straight into the next song, and then you do the next song, and then the robotic voice says, "Thank you," and then you leave the room.
So, do you have anything to add to that? Is it scary?
It's scary because the judges in the back sometimes laugh and stuff.
It's really awkward,
Yeah.
because you'll hear them cough, and then you don't see them, and you can kind of see their outline of it, and you
Yeah.
just don't see their faces. Crazy.
Okay, very good, thank you. I wanted you to hear their perspective, because what they do is they learn 3 pieces of music, all of it. And then the day before, they are told which 2 pieces are going to be auditioned and what measure, so they don't sing the whole song. So they have to be able to enter into that section and sing through it and get all their pitches and their rhythms correct. And so there's 2 rounds to that, and we go to Northwest, so it's in 4 quads, and the top 28 of that quad, about all the 4 quads in the state, then go to the 2nd round, and so you're competing in the 2nd round against all of the top in each quad. And then they still only pick about 28 in each section, so only 28 soprano 1s, only 28 soprano 2s, and on down. And so for them to make that, the 4 that I had, and especially these 2 making it 4 years in a row, it's just really difficult. It's a little bit harder. The judges, we're good friends, and sometimes we try not to laugh with, but somebody always does something, but we're trying not to let the kids be nervous. And sometimes I think they just think they hear things. But we know them, or I know my kids, but they know that those 3 judges are back there listening with our scores, marking every mistake. So the thing that they learn from this, when they grow up, when they go into an interview, they're going to have established character enough to be able to go into an interview or whatever else they're going to do as an adult and be able to take that pressure of performance. And then they also learn you don't always make it, and that's okay. You just do your best. And so it's really a good lesson for them, a life lesson. So, and then we had Ethan McLean, who's not here in Illinois, and he is in high school, and this is his second year to make. When you get to 10th through 12th grade, you're doing college level music, and it is even ridiculously harder. And so I wish he was here to explain how he did, but this is his second year to make it, and so I'm very proud of them. You know, they work hard, and they tell me I push them, but you know, that's what I'm paid to do. So.
And you go to New Orleans when?
We go to New Orleans April 9th through 12th. And my junior high All-Staters, we're going on Thursday to Oklahoma City for their Oklahoma City All-State choir function. So we'll be in, we'll leave Thursday.
And are they doing it, are they gonna have a guest?
Yes, yeah, there's a mixed choir and a treble choir. Evelyn and Hannah are in the mixed choir. Valeria and Braylon are in the treble choir.
Okay.
And they have two different composers who are coming, and one of those, no, that's y'all's. They're gonna be debuting one of the composer's pieces, All-State. And so, and then one of the things we just got, she had adjusted it a little bit for junior high treble. And so we got that. So the stuff they're doing is, sometimes it's the composer just finished it, and we get to do it. So, which is fantastic, to be the first to sing something.
Well, congratulations, keep singing.
Thank you.
Congratulations and thank you. And if y'all want to, your students, and y'all feel free to leave if you don't want to stay through.
Stay for the rest of the morning Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Any other recognitions and honors that we have?
No, not tonight.
Not tonight. All right. Discussion and possible action on the contract agreement with the Cherrydale Farms for Gilmore and Heritage Fundraiser for fiscal year 2027, and Vicki Stone Physical Therapy Services and University of Oklahoma Functional Behavioral Assessment Agreement.
Okay, this is the Gilmore and Heritage fundraising is for the fall of 2027. We're trying to get these in so we don't have a rush at the start of next year. We're going to try to get all of them in that we can by the end of the school year so that we can kind of get this normalized back to where it used to be. This is the same fundraiser they did this year, and they seem to be happy with it, so they requested that we go back to it. Vicki Stone Physical Therapy Services is for special ed, and the University of Oklahoma is for functional behavior assessment agreements on autism and emotional issues students, and we kind of got to have both of those.
Any other questions or discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve that amendment.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. F, discussion and possible action on encumbrances, including approval and change orders. 1, general fund, accounts payable 1510 to 1531, payroll 7408 through 7411, building fund, accounts payable 2134 to 2151, child nutritional fund, accounts payable 2207, change orders listed in general co-op building and child nutrition, the treasurer's report, and the activity fund custodial report.
Okay, we've got a couple of things that I would point out to you in the encumbrances. We have, if you're wondering about the South Point Chevrolet, that's from where we had a Suburban kind of have some issues over at at Lincoln Christian. We had, most of these are for our part of the Education Foundation materials. And if you'll notice, 1521, Carrie Edwards accompanying us for vocal class. That's by the hour. She spent a lot of time. She's really good. She does a wonderful job on piano. And E3 Diagnostics, you have to have a different diagnostician for just about every kind of special ed. It's a little tiresome. Then we run into the encumbrance for payrolls. Then as we go down through the building, the change orders, we have a $94,000 changeover on the Jody Hall. That was what we came to you with last month. We had to make that change order to get to the full amount. I think it was $250,000. That we do have the doors of materials in place now, and we have the roll-off to store the materials that we can store outside of climate control. There's really not that much that is exceptional in here that I would point out, unless you have one that you want to ask about. When we get over to as we move on through and get over to the co-op changeover fund, the psychological services that we have for Teal Oswald, that was placed in there because we had $250,000 we received at the start of the year, and we're not able to close that account yet, that particular fund. So we went ahead and used that. Well, it's legal to do that, so that's why we did that. It was easier than trying to transfer money from one fund to another, which gets rather cumbersome. And then we get into the building fund. Most of this is for fire troll or for the fire control systems, heat and air, and some parts for vehicles. And we had to rent a cement saw to take care of some stuff that we had to do over at Gilmore, or at Heritage. We'll talk about that in 1 second. And then the rest of it is just janitorial supplies and Midwest Bus. The commodity distribution for child nutrition, our Taylor contract. And then today was an exceptionally exciting day, as I sent you all the discussion. We received our county check. The net total was $5,759,210.94. You need that again? $5,759,210. I'm sorry, $210.94. And that was for all the funds, but it did help a lot in the general fund because we got about $2.5 million out of general fund for that. As we go down through the balances in the accounts, we're looking a whole lot more healthy than we did this time last month. Things are really moving forward as we projected in the budget. And whenever you go to the revenue, the revenue over on page 18, one concerning point that we don't have the county tax number in here because we did this before Christmas break. So this is all before Christmas break. But what we're looking at right now is we're looking at, up to that point, we were $640,000 below what we were same time last year before Christmas break. Gross production is running about $244,000 less. We won't know until what this month's is until probably tomorrow or the next day when it comes out of locate taps. But we have collected 85.35% of the money that we anticipated, and we'll go over what we had budgeted for collections. Foundation aid, foundation state aid is still $18,837 more than what it was this time last year. And most of our lower collections are due to the loss of the balance forward. But we're also seeing that we still have that $577,000 issue that the state didn't send us money for pay raises. And we don't know what's going to happen with the state this time. If they do a pay raise, we don't know if they'll take care of that for us. But, you know, we're looking a little bit more fragile coming out of last month, but our ad valorem helps us a lot, which it normally does. I don't know where gross production is going, and I think if I did know, I could make a lot of money real quick, but I just don't know. It's really hard. When we go and look at our expenses, we're running, our salaries right now are $261,000 less than what they were last year, year to date. Burdens were $94,000, services are $538,000 less, supplies are $180,000 less, and dues and fees are $640,000. Our net expenses are $744,000 below, and that will increase as we go through the year, because as we move through the year, we have more salaries that we're reducing in cost for. The expense budget is showing the expected trend line. Right now, we're running, through expenses, we're running 68% salaries and marketing, which is pretty good for this time of year. We have had an increase in some services though, because we have had to continue to fix HVAC and buses, but that's part of dealing with those kind of systems. When we look at the month to month, we were only $72,000 less this last month, but that part of that was the Jody Hall stuff. Part of that was because we had $250,000 in there that we didn't have this time last year. Change that. No, I didn't. And we also, but we are looking, we're still running $61,000 less in salaries, and we have had to bump some salaries because of the grants that we have. And dues and fees are setting at $2,737 less. So our net expenses are really $80,540 less than what we were this time last year, month to month. I will get a better report for you, because it's easy to do this month to month on a half-year basis. And that's the finances.
Any other questions or comments on line item F? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve line item F. One second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. G, Superintendent's report.
Ms. Thompson?
We had a great first day back today for our professional development day with Dr. Culver. We worked on a multitude of things, but a few things we worked on were how to help students take ownership of their learning, how to extend learning targets. We also worked on the Oklahoma academic standards and activity with pre-K through 12, and so we got a lot of, I'm sure you guys probably got the same, but we got a lot of good feedback about, it was very meaningful for staff to be in different groups like they were today across grade levels, so I think one thing we hope that we can do some more of that to keep extending what we're doing. And then other than that, just excited about welcoming students back tomorrow.
Heritage, of course, we had the same professional development. That was really great. Dr. Culver is super. A little bit over break, Heritage had some work done. We had our sidewalk that was installed, so I'm super excited about that. Jay's going to tear that sidewalk up. I just know she is. She's going to get excited to hit the swings. I know there was a goal that was on my playground that's been removed. Had some work done on the inside of the building, so the maintenance crew was really, really busy in my building, for sure, over break.
And Mr. Whitrock's company came and helped us out on moving some of that stuff around because that was a big old ball of concrete.
Yes, thank
We
you.
really appreciate
We
that.
appreciate it.
No problem. Sean's the only one I'll throw it out. He had a skid steer up there, and I brought the trailer, and we got it picked up. Do you want it back?
No.
It's still on my trailer, so I gotta figure out
No,
where.
well, and Sean had sent me pictures of the sidewalk as it was being done. It's been, I came to school and checked everything out, and so,
Yeah, that looked good.
yeah, it looks really, really good, so we're excited. Another thing, each month, you know, I've told you that the special ed directors in the county are putting on an event for parents. Thursday night, we are having Able Tech come at Heritage Auditorium, and they will hopefully be talking to parents that come. Hopefully, we'll have parents that come and talking about all the different adaptive equipment that students can rent from them, or places that they can purchase this equipment. But basically, it's equipment that they can rent from them at no cost. For their children, and just resources throughout the state. So they're a great resource. So that's Thursday night at 6. And I've had it on Facebook, I think, a million times, and I know Rachel Wilsick from Dover has done the same. So that's all for me.
At the Q, the professional development was very, very good. It was something that our teachers had voiced that they needed. They wanted us all to get together and try to align the curriculum, and they very seldom get to talk as a group. It's kind of separated by buildings, and so the hope was that today we were able to kind of bring them together and let them collaborate and talk and share. And I think it went very well. Other than that, we're just looking forward to getting students back tomorrow.
Okay. I'm going to piggyback off of that. I think Dr. Culver does a great job. I think our buildings right now feel like an island. We all do our own thing, and getting together as a group like this, and like Miranda said, the vertical alignment is much needed, because in order for a grade level to know how to prepare a student for the next grade, we have to contact and communicate with the lower grades. So I think that was huge, and I'm a big supporter of learning targets as well as success criteria. So I really enjoy that kind of stuff, and I enjoyed walking around and listening to the conversations that teachers were having, talking about the pedagogy, and it was really exciting. One thing here at the junior high, I noticed immediately was we painted the island curbs out in the parking lot, so hopefully we'll have a lot less cars bottoming out on those. So our maintenance crew did a great job on that. And as well as our students have already started sports. Today our junior high had games with Blanchard. I think they're wrapping up right now. And then we're excited to get the kids back on Tuesday, because that's why we all have jobs.
Some of the items we completed over the break was we refreshed the restrooms in APB. And they were, I don't think they've been done in a while. And we used Miracle Method that we used down in the FFA band room restrooms. And it really looks a whole lot better. We don't have all of the baseboards back up. But our next place that we're going to is the commons area of the high school, which needs to be done, and the freshman hall restrooms at the high school. But we've been trying to do this a little bit at a time to at least update it and look like we're not in the 1990s. you know, it's just not a good look. And those restrooms need to look, that's something that you really have to do. They painted the junior high parking lot. We ran out of paint. And we're going to do the curbs where people step up because it scares me half to death sometimes because it's so dark out there and you can't see where that curb is. And if we had somebody fall and break a hip or something, that would be a bad deal, especially on a really cold night if we didn't know we were there. We started work on the security door at Gilmore so that we can lock off the, so we're able to secure that gym if we have to. And as we said, Mr. Whitrock and Mr. Scanhorn helped us get that big ball of concrete out that was so lovely over there. And I hate to say this too loudly, we believe we have the HVAC units already. I don't want to test it, but that's what we believe. That's where we're at right now.
Thank you. All right, discussion and possible presentation of the state school board report card.
Oh, yeah. I brought you, there's an extra one back there if anybody wants it. This is a little different than what we really did. I mean, there's some good, there's some bad, there's some ugly. So we just gotta, I think what we need to concentrate on is what we can control and what we can do something about. As we go through the report card, the first slide we come through is the attendance. We averaged 92.65% attendance. We're 1.84% above the state average. Enrollment over time, as you can see, we've dropped from 1,400 kids down to where we're right above 1,250 students. And as you look at the enrollment over time on the lower right-hand corner, you can see, you can see that we're crossing and our demographics are changing. You can see that our economically disadvantaged numbers are rising back up. That is kind of a misnomer to a certain extent because we were at 72 to 74% economically disadvantaged in 2009, 2010. That was my last year here. That's why I know that, because we use that for grants. We're headed back up towards that number. For some reason in Oklahoma, we haven't seen that many kids that have been put on the economically disadvantaged role. And a lot of it is because we all like to make our money and pay for our own bills. But that is something that does help us with grants. And in our free and reduced lunch program for Everybody Eats has actually driven our numbers up about 3%. Our academic performance, this is a real Chamber of Commerce moment here. We're in the top 20% in our composite ranking. We're 83 out of 436 districts in the state. Literacy-wise, we're 33 out of 436 districts in the state. That's pretty high. I know a lot of people that would love to have that number. We're in the top 8%. We're in the top 22% in math. We're 97 out of 436, and we're in the top 36% in composite science. And whenever we say composite, that means grades pre-K through 12. Everybody that we have. Our Kingfisher composite score is top 19%. So we're doing pretty well on that. And remember, this is against all the other districts in the state. And we've maintained our position within the state. When we first started looking at test scores really closely, I was really concerned about that. But as we look at this, I've got the assessment performances where we came up with the numbers on each one of these little tiles here. But if you go to the next page, and the next slide, This is where Mr. Swisher is going to get excited, because he loves graphs so much, and he loves my explanation, and I'm going to go all the way and explain this completely. If you look at the left, at the lower left-hand corner, we had something almost unprecedented happen last fall, where the governor ordered the Education Quality Accountability Office to go in and re-norm the test psychometrically. Now that sounds really bad, but it's not. It was designed to be honest. This was first done when Sandy Garrett was state superintendent in 2006. And the reason was all of a sudden test scores jumped up. And it didn't make sense, so they established that office so that they could go in and they could look at these test scores. If you look at our test scores in the lower left-hand corner, it looks like we are zooming off to the moon. It looks like we're going crazy. And you look over to the right and to the top right and the lower right, you'll note that our numbers go up from 2024 to 2025. That's a good thing. But the problem is, these numbers never should have been printed. They should not have been in the state test scores because they in the school report card, because they re-normed everything. So, once they re-normed everything, if you'll turn the page, those graphs don't look quite as shiny. And what we're seeing here is we're seeing a decline. And we're seeing a gradual decline, but the numbers that I gave you for our ranking within the state says that if we're doing this, what's everybody else doing? But what we're seeing here is we're seeing that our decline happened over the last 3 years, particularly in literacy and in math. Those numbers, we just came back down closer to the state norm. And whenever they re-normed those, it really caused a change. I don't know if it's right or wrong that they re-normed them, but I wish they would have printed just one of the sets of numbers, because there's going to be people that are going to see that first set of numbers and think, hot dog, we're really good, we're really improving. And if you don't go look at this set of numbers, you're not getting the same picture. And this is the more accurate picture. And what you're seeing is about a 3.5% to 4% deflection. So we didn't put the actual grades in here, because what we're seeing is our grades we've got bright spots, we've got not so bright spots. But I will tell you that our teachers are working their tail off to make the literacy stuff really work well. If you want to see something really, really wild, go sit in on the second, third, first grade, reading meeting. Those people are working. They're really using their data, and it really works well for them. But the issues that we're seeing, and I do not know why they didn't come up there, compared to the rest of Oklahoma, Kingfisher is a high-performing district. The problem with the previous statement is that we are seeing a decline in literacy rates at an alarming and compounding rate across the state. It's on the next to last page. A major concern is the number of students not reading or demonstrating math competency on grade level. And our benchmark data is showing us in the younger grades that the students are responding well to the implementation of our data usage to monitor their progress. And we've really started using the data very, very closely. And what we've done is we've gone away from the AMERA benchmark test. AMERA is paid for by the state. With our literacy grant, we purchased iReady. And iReady is closer to a norm reference than a criterion reference. So that means you have a whole lot more data points to compare it to, than to compare our kids to. And what we're seeing is we're seeing kids really begin to grow quickly. And our teachers are doing a really good job of remediation. And what we're seeing as we move forward, hopefully, is we can get the students up on grade level and move forward in a much quicker way. We believe most of our benchmark data we're seeing in our upper grades is not completely valid. We can tell when they get on already, when they go through a test really quickly. And we're trying to find some ways to entice students not to do that. Part of that is so that we actually know where they're at if they need help. As a Board of Education administrative team, our goal setting with our teachers needs to be carefully considered as we move forward. And we are working hard to implement literacy curriculum. Our professional development, like the principals we're talking about, is aimed precisely at this. And we're meeting as a district to try to work through this and at a building level. And we're trying to use benchmarks to monitor our student growth. Implement remediation and retention policies should prove useful in gathering more clear data. As we move forward with this, we're probably going to need to look at doing parent-teacher conferences a little bit different in next year's calendar, is what my suggestion would be. The remediation to fortify the classrooms has really shown great growth, and our impetus has to be on improving our academic performance. And the last slide that isn't up there, our curriculum must become aligned. Our instructional methods need to become much more consistent within the district. We need to examine the rigor, and we need to find an authentic evaluation tool to measure student learning. The test with no consequences is not working for us. And we really believe that the legislature is probably going to put something in this time in addition to more days in the calendar that will allow us to move forward with fixing some of these goals. Any questions?
All right, if not, we'll move on to I, discussion and action to relax the Valentine's delivery day rule for 1 year.
This is something I brought to principals, I brought to you guys individually. I know that we haven't done a real good job of interacting with our business community within town. I really believe that we need to open this up and allow our businesses to deliver on Valentine's Day. We haven't been appropriately utilizing the policy as was written anyway. And I want to try it on a 1 year basis.
I've been trying to figure out how to handle this, and I wrote a little bit of a letter or a note here that I kind of have, and there's just, I'm debating on whether to go through it or not, but I'm going to go ahead just because of what's over the past month. So, over the past month, I received numerous calls and been included in an overwhelming number of conversations concerning the distribution of deliveries in the school in February. This all started the first week of December when Mr. Evans texted for my thoughts. My reply was simple. This should be decided by the principals and the front office staff, as neither any board member nor the superintendent would be charged with being at the schools handling and coordinating these deliveries. It would all be done by the staff of each building. His reply about the principals was they did not have any reaction. 10 days later, after hearing from the staff and others, I received another text from our superintendent that the principals were hesitant, but that we were going to try this anyways on a 1 year term. This was not the feedback that I received concerning the deliveries, and felt the consensus of the staff was not the priority here. I and many others, the number of text messages and screenshot, I became enraged when receiving a screenshot showing that the leader of our organization opted to go to the Chamber of Commerce and send an email blast to the entire community with his name bold at the top, asking the board to approve his requested change to our policy. This is nothing short of manipulation. We have had issues like this hiring people before the board approved. It puts board members in a spot of agreeing with something We don't support or have egg on our face for creating an issue. These types of issues have happened over and over here, and the issue was even worse with our previous superintendent, and this needs to stop. There is a number of issues with Valentine's deliveries explained to me, including creating a safety issue for our children, with all the people in and out of the buildings, loss of instruction, the possibility of damaging or breaking gifts resulting in upset parents, spreading staff thin to try and oversee this effort, and the staff would have to deal with any fallouts, social, emotional impact pertaining to some kids that did not receive anything. I completely, again, these are things that have came to me from this community and leadership. I completely understand the desire to support local business. I would love to send my kids a gift to brighten their day, but not at the expense of other children who may not have anyone or their parents may not be in a position that this is not an option. As such, I intend to still support the local businesses by having a gift for them when they get home. Every person would still have that option. As such, I would ask the board members to decline this agenda item, as any vote in favor would be a vote against supporting our staff and their wishes at any building. It would be a vote favoring local businesses, which I and every other board member would love to support, but I cannot vote to put them in front of what's best for our children based on the leadership of Kingfisher. That's a letter I wrote that I just put together, so I didn't just go on and try to put this all, and that's my thoughts here. I don't appreciate getting that blast. I don't appreciate all of the text that I got from that, making this seem like the board did not want to support businesses as well, and making this a community issue when it could have been handled internally as an organization.
Number one, I did not ask for that particular Chamber of Commerce deal to be sent out.
Okay.
I did not at all. I have never done that to you before. Neither will I ever do that again.
We have had an issue with the teacher being hired that was not approved, and we had to, after they've left their job, and the board had to change that. Am I correct, Bill? My understanding is that we offered a job and you asked some questions and we had to back up on that.
Can you correct me?
I mean, without the details, and we can talk about more of it, but I'm gonna say that we had that issue. I will get the facts on that and we'll get back to you on that, but I'm pretty sure that this board has had to back up on an offer.
I remember that, yes, I do remember that.
And so my deal is that, and maybe I'm coming across here hard, Mr. Evans, but I'm gonna say the previous superintendent, it was just non-stop, and I'm not gonna continue to do it. And so I don't know whoever decided to put from the desk of Superintendent Evans at the top of it and say that we're asking the board to do this and make a community issue before we had a vote on it, but I'm gonna say that there is a overwhelming amount of people, and maybe whether to speak or not, I've had an overwhelming number of people within this community, within the staff, that are defeated about this.
Can withdraw.
So,
Before, so since I was on the school board when we initially canceled the Valentine's Day deliveries, Dan, were you on? Dan and I were the only two on the board at the time. And there was a reason we canceled it. And there still is a reason in my mind, even though I support the local businesses just like everybody else. And I know we are the only school, I believe, that's not doing the Valentine's Day delivery. We're also the largest school. And probably things should have been handled back then that weren't handled correctly. Maybe things would be different than they are today. I am still concerned. I'm more concerned about the kids who don't get something on Valentine's Day than I am about the kids who get something on Valentine's Day. I've seen it in other deals where some parents with means go way overboard. And the kid down here, whose parents are doing as much as they can to support their kids and do everything they can, I just can't afford today to send you this big gift. It's Valentine's Day, it's one day. And yes, it means a lot. Probably means a lot to more of us that are married or have boyfriends and girlfriends than to a second or third grader. To them, it's just another day. They get a gift and they get something else. So, why I don't agree with everything Brad said, I do agree that I don't think that we need to open the, because it falls on those five back there and the support staff on trying to do it. So, and I made these points very clear when we talked about this last time. My biggest concern is the impact on the social. We have enough problems with social economics anyway in this town, and to me, this just is another way that we possibly could be driven. So that's my statement.
I'll just add to that, what Mr. Copeland said about the child that doesn't get something. And I've spoken to some teachers, some staff members, and they say we should see the looks on those kids' faces. And it's, no fault of the parent. I mean, they can't afford it. If they can't afford it, or they don't think about it, or think it's important, and then that evening, they go, it was important. It was important to that child. And, they said, the teachers I spoke to, they said, we're the ones that have to deal with that child, the emotional impact. So I tend to agree. I mean, unless there's some parent-teacher organization or something that wants to do something, so that make sure that every child gets something, but and I hate that we've, our society is, not, nowadays, everybody gets a medal, and we're at that point, but it would be that way. And when I went to school, you didn't get anything Valentine's Day in school, other than, you exchange Valentine's in the lower grades, or you exchange with your friends or whatever like that, but there was, never thought about a parent sending, a bouquet or balloons or whatever. And so, I tend to agree. I don't know that we do those, lots of logistics and the fact that it makes such an emotional impact on kids if they don't get something.
And Mr. Copeland, you said you were here before. My understanding is that some of the problem too before, and some staff have called, is that people do sometimes tend to go overboard, right? Certain people may.
There was some overboard, and then there was some inappropriate too.
Right. I'm saying some of it is the overboard, and then a school admin drops a vase and breaks it, and then they feel bad, and then they feel like they got to pay for that, which they shouldn't have to pay for it because it's all there, and then you just have so much drama and like I said, what was put to me was social and emotional impact. I can't put, I would challenge anybody to support the businesses, and I think this whole board would. I just can't do it in front of our kids.
Yeah, I don't ever remember Valentine's Day. Of course, a long time ago since I was in high school. I don't remember Valentine's Day being that big a deal. I don't know whether over the years it's just escalated. It's become commercialized just like any other holiday. So, I'm just saying my piece, so. Dana or Charles, you have any?
I think you guys said it all pretty much.
I guess since it's still in, we're not gonna vote. Where's your vote?
I don't know if
Yeah, there's no need to vote on it.
if we have
Right,
to.
because we're leaving what we've had in there for, what, 8-9 years? I don't know when we put it in, or when we put it in. Huh? 7, so we're just gonna leave it. And again, we all support the local businesses. It has nothing to do with the local businesses. It has to do with the social aspect of it. And I'm seeing most of the principals nodding their heads, so I think they agree with this. So,
So do I just put no action taken?
just no action taken. All right, J, discussion and possible action on January 1st, 2026 transfer capacity.
I would ask that you approve this as offered. There would be 5, we have room for 5 transfers in pre-K, 2 in first grade, 5 in second, 6 in second, 7 and 8 in seventh, 2 in 10th grade, and then none in 11th or 12th.
And this would be transfers coming in for this semester?
Well, we have to do it quarterly.
We have to do
We have to do
it
it
quarterly.
quarterly.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we approve the transfer capacity by site.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. We're on K, proposed executive session to discuss employment compensation of the following positions for the 2025-26 school year. The disclosure of which discussion would violate confidentiality requirements of state or federal laws as authorized by 25 OS 307 B1 employment. Evaluation of superintendent. discussion of superintendent contract, discussion of candidate for high school secretary position, discussion of teacher aide pairs for the literacy program.
I'll make a motion that we convene into executive session. I second.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. We are in executive session at 7:54. We hurry up and set it more.
Is it midnight yet?
Okay, the Kingfisher Board of the Kingfisher Board of Education met in executive session on January 5th, 2026. The board members consisting of Charles Walker, Bill Wright, Dana Gobeck, Brad Brock, and Mike Copeland. We entered into executive session at 7:54 and returned to open session at 11:34. The matters listed on the board agendas were considered in the executive session and no other matters were discussed. No board action was taken in executive session. All right, M, discussion of possible action on superintendent contract.
I'll make a motion that we extend Mr. Evans' contract.
For the 27-28 school year.
Yes. I second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. Resignation and opening of positions.
We have Chanel Vasquez, Sky Dondi, and Debbie Bear. And Debbie Bear and Sky Dondi are employees at the daycare, and Ms. Vasquez is a para at Gilmore, or a teacher's aide, and we need to open those positions immediately.
Okay. Do we need a motion?
Yes.
To accept those resignations.
Accept the resignation and open the positions.
I make that motion that we accept those resignations and open positions immediately.
I'll second that.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. Discussion and possible action on employment of high school secretary.
We have no action.
No action on that this evening, okay. P, discussion and possible action on employment of teacher aides or paras for literacy program.
I would like to recommend Kate Henderson as a para.
Do I hear a motion?
We'll make a motion to approve Kate Henderson as a para. I'll second that.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. Q, new business.
New business, Pam, do you have that? Okay, on new business, I'd like to request that we approve the encumbrance numbers 2152 through 2156 out of the general fund. These were out of the building fund. These were from, these came up after we posted the agenda on the Thursday before Christmas break. And then we also need to include out of building fund 2110 through 2142.
Okay, on the repair of 1A engine and transfer.
Yeah, that's pretty sizable. That's what happened was we tried to do a head job on the motor, and it failed miserably. We actually wound up, it's just been a nightmare. And that's a $480,000 bus, and we can't afford to replace the bus itself. We need the bus.
So basically a new engine.
New engine, and had to do some rework on the transmission.
This is all in new, encumbrances. Do we need to put the evaluation program in this, or we need to do different?
It'd be a different motion. So I hear a motion to approve these encumbrances.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Brad, you have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we, the school contact Dr. Josiano with USSBA, and enroll, and for $500 and enroll our school in the OSSBA Superintendent Evaluation Program, and see if he could provide training to the board, at our next meeting.
I'll second it.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. Any more announcements? Daniel, you're up.
Oh, I get to make a motion at the adjournment.
I'll second.
All those in favor, raise your right hand. We are adjourned at 11:38.